What is up, everyone? It is Match Commentator, and it has been a while. Frankly, I just deleted all my videos, made a new Twitter, deleted all my old Instagram posts. I want to start brand new, all over again. But we're not really here about me. We're here about Riley Dennis and his new video trying to debunk myths about him and his beliefs. I see he's trying to pull a Francesca Ramsey out of his ass. This should be an interesting video. All right, let's go on with the video, shall we?
So, there are a lot of lies about me on the internet. Lots of people like to claim I said things I never said, twist things I did say so that they're unrecognizable, invent lies about my personal life, and otherwise just be really shitty.
Told ya.
So I thought I'd round up a bunch of the bullshit and address it directly, because people are still bringing up things that I clarified like forever ago. So here we are. Okay, so the first one is probably obvious to anyone who's been following this channel for a while. My first video about dating preferences came out in November of 2016, so like over a year ago, and people are still bringing it up and writing articles about it and making response videos about it and just really not understanding what I said at all.
Oh, trust me, we heard ya pretty damn well.
Would you date a trans person, honestly? Think about it for a second. Okay, got your answer? Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory.
Oh, that's nice. Let's hold you up to your own standards, will ya? You yourself are discriminating against other trannies, fat, black, disabled, all of those people, because your current girlfriend is a white cisgendered woman. All your YouTube crushes, white, fairly skinny, and women. You're discriminating against men, black, obese, disabled. So where's your justice there, huh? How are you gonna respond to that one? However, going on this topic, you yourself also made a response video. Well, not a response video, but instead posted on Twitter, which most people didn't see. I mean, you love to block people like Steve Shive, no bullshit, hell, even Francesca Ramsey. However, this is what you said. So this video seems to have struck a chord with the alt-right anti-feminist community on YouTube. They seem to be awfully offended. Some might even say even triggered by this video. It's almost like they want me to be more politically correct. So I'm a bigot if I don't fuck a trans person? No, I never called anyone a bigot. I did not say the word bigot once in my entire video. I said that your actions might be discriminatory. That's a big leap you had to make there between possibly discriminatory and bigoted.
Sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory.
You don't even have to fuck trans people. I clearly said that in my video. You don't even have to find trans people attractive. Alright, let's get back on track a little bit, but let's finish this little segment up. None of us were even offended. Maybe your fans were a little bit, considering that you just slammed them into the ground saying that they were discriminating. However, comparing the alt-right to anti-feminists is like comparing atheism to science. Very similar, however not the same at all. There's a lot of liberals I know that are anti-feminist. Us wanting you to be politically correct? No, we hate it. It censors freedom of speech. Now you never said bigot in your video. However, you're implying it. That is completely undeniable. And might be discriminatory. I already kind of explained that. But however, let's say you never said that you don't need to fuck them or find them attractive. However, I'm still forced by you to date them, but so I don't get called discriminatory. Catch my drift?
In the aftermath, I did like 2 other videos on the subject, but obviously that didn't change anything, because no one was listening to me anyway.
So no one listens to you, huh? So tell me, how much do you love freedom of speech? Because it seems that you really do love it. But, you know what? I'll let Batting explain this one. I present to you Batting's video.
Oh, we're finally here. Riley Dennis, a hypocritical meme, a factory of videos begging for a response, but whom hates the idea of even conversing about an opposing opinion.
How did you end up speaking to Milo in the first place?
I follow a bunch of SJW channels, like Justin, Riley Dennis, Marina Shut Up, Cat Black, stuff like that. I just sent out a tweet and I tagged Marina Shut Up and Riley Dennis. And I was like, hey guys, would you want to come on a stream to just talk about your views on the whole Trump election? Not a debate, just a conversation. So I thought that was pretty harmless. Riley Dennis ended up blocking me. Yeah, yeah.
But see, Riley has a hobby outside of making response bait and blocking people, apparently. I spent an entire day watching videos of people calling me a stupid, regressive, snowflake tranny, faggot, retarded SJW. Okay, let's examine this. Stupid? No fucking way. I doubt anybody in their right mind would call you stupid on the internet. That fucking never happens, ever. Regressive? Well, let's pull up the best regressive checklist that I know of. It's AIU's regressive agenda. Let's see if we have a match. Fuck white people?
Trump, white supremacy, alt-right, white supremacist, KKK supports Donald Trump, white supremacist, misogynist, and anti-Semite, Trump, the KKK, white supremacist, ties to white supremacy, supporting white supremacy, which, by the way, is horrible and racist and not mainstream in any way.
Yes, Riley, white supremacy is bad. Racism is bad, guys. Racism, it's really, really bad. I mean, did you really think of that nugget of information all by yourself? What about number 3 there? Defend the Muslims. Fucking Christ.
I'm a queer, trans, gay person, and I will happily support and defend all of my Muslim siblings.
Alright, how about number 4? Fuck the cops.
It feels like every other day in the news, there's an innocent black person who was killed by police. Because that's the only way they're portrayed in our media.
Number 5, fuck conservatives and Republicans.
Especially when Trump has appointed Steve Bannon, a known white supremacist, misogynist, and anti-Semite, to be his chief strategist.
Number 6, save the blacks. Yeah, you got that one covered pretty well. I mean, let's just face it, man. You meet the criteria. You're regressive. Alright, next up was Snowflake.
This snowflake manages to single-handedly prove that the fall of civilization is imminent.
Yeah, that was probably Undoomed. He does that. Alright, next was Tranny. Not sure why that's on the list. I'm pretty sure that's a compliment to you. Faggot. See, that one doesn't make sense because you're a guy who likes women. Maybe they're misunderstanding. Retarded SJW. Okay, that one might have been me, I admit that. The point here is this segment has gone on long enough. Let's move on. I spent the entire day watching videos so that I could compile a list of channels that harass me so that I can make an argument to YouTube that we have to do something about this. Okay, so to simplify what this is saying, Riley spent the day flagging videos that were critical of him. So does Riley stand for free speech? Well, according to this, no. Especially since right after this text was apparently posted to Facebook, Hunter Avalone, Leafy is Here, and Very Nearly Viral all mysteriously had their videos ripping Riley's arguments removed from YouTube. As far as Hunter Avalone, he even had 2 Twitter accounts suspended and an Instagram image removed. Now you can easily say Riley had nothing to do with this, but the timing of this post and the timing of the removed content, well, it starts to paint a picture. I'll let you decide for yourself.
And adding on to Battening's point, look at this one video that Riley made. Not all opinions are valid.
You just don't have a valid viewpoint and you're not worthy of being debated. No matter what I say, no matter what evidence I present, they're going to be in their opinion. They just want someone to yell about it to.
How big is your ego? And second of all, that's you. You reject facts. You just want to yell at somebody.
What I said and what I still believe is that we are all raised with implicit biases that we are not consciously aware of, and that these biases seep into our dating preferences even if we're not actively aware of it. What that means is that oftentimes what people have a preference for isn't their innate preference. It is to some degree influenced by the world around them. I think it's ignorant to say that everyone's dating preferences are 100% completely innate and not affected by the world around them at all.
If that's truly the case, Riley, let me ask you, did you know that it's actually all genetics? According to an article on Slate, yes, Slate, lots of research has been done about sexual orientation. They have found that it's all genetics. Here's 2 paragraphs from that one article. Studies on identical twins are important as identical twins inherit the same genes. This can shed light on possible genetic causes. Studies on twins has established that homosexuality is more common in identical twins other than non-identical twins. This proves that homosexuality can be inherited. However, the extent of the inheritance between twins are lower than expected. These findings contribute to the notion that although homosexuality can be inherited, that this does not occur according to the rules of classical genetics. Rather, it occurs through another mechanism known as epigenetics. Epigenetics relates to the influence of environmental factors on genes, either in the uterus or after birth. The field of epigenetics was developed after a new method was found that identifies the mechanisms. Epimark. that meditate the effect of the environment of gene expressions.
Society tells us that a certain kind of person is beautiful. White, thin, cisgender, straight, abled. That messaging affects all of us, whether we want it to or not. And we all have to work to unlearn that prejudice. We should all try to question our preferences and discern if they're actually innate or socially influenced.
You do know beauty standards are from the majority of people, right? This is what the majority of people want and or do.
Obviously, that's not what all the response videos said. Tons of people were claiming I said that if you don't date trans people, you're a bigot. Except that I never said the word bigot in any of my videos on that topic. I also never said anyone had to date anyone or had to have sex with anyone, but tons of people claimed that I did.
Pretty sure you actually implied it.
Oh, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory. Now, I've been pretty clear that I'm a huge fan of consent, and I firmly believe that you always need enthusiastic consent to have sex. You're allowed to say no to sex or dating for any reason, even if that reason is shitty and discriminatory.
Well, that's one way to cut down on your credibility in less than 20 seconds. Ugh. But tell me, if you're such a big fan of consent, why are you forcing us to date other people that we don't have any preference to? That makes no sense.
However, afterwards, I think it's reasonable that you should question why you hold that possibly discriminatory preference.
Pretty sad you can't even keep your own story straight. I mean, you keep saying that it's discriminatory, then it's possibly discriminatory. Which one is it, huh?
That's probably the biggest myth. The rest of these, in terms of media attention and views and stuff, are much smaller, but they're still pretty ridiculous.
Jesus fucking Christ. That one segment was over 10 minutes long.
So the next one started with a tweet about the Las Vegas shooting. If you're not aware, on October 1st, a white man shot up a concert in Las Vegas, killing 58 people and injuring 546 others. This was obviously a devastating tragedy, but what I think is important to point out is that every time there was an incident involving a Muslim attacker, Trump would call to ban all Muslims, but he didn't call to ban all white men after the Las Vegas shooting. I think it's horrifically discriminatory to suggest banning all Muslims. In fact, right now, the newest version of Trump's travel ban is in effect. However, I'm filming this a while before the video will go live, so it's possible that something could change before then because I know it's still being challenged in the courts. Anyway, the point is, banning Muslims is wrong. So to point out how discriminatory and wrong it is, after the Las Vegas shooting, I tweeted hashtag ban all white men.
First of all, I hate to sound like a Trump fanboy, but it's a travel ban, not a Muslim ban. If it was a Muslim ban, he would have threw all the Muslims out of the country or put them in the camps like the Japanese were. But no, he's not doing that. It's just a travel ban on certain countries due to ISIS. And ISIS is not any normal military. Instead, they blend in, so you don't know who's truly evil and who's actually peaceful. And since you won't show the tweets, I will. I will leave the photos up for 3 seconds each one. If you need more time on that one, just pause the video.
Obviously, I don't seriously believe we should ban all white men from the United States. I don't think I should have to clarify that. It seems pretty obvious. But after I tweeted that, hundreds of people got super mad because they thought I was being serious. The same people who are always saying that feminists can't take a joke couldn't understand the simplest form of satire.
Considering how serious you are when it comes to politics, I doubt this was actually a joke and this is more or less a cover-up. I mean, let's be honest. You are serious. And not to mention, you don't seem to know how to set up satire either. There was no context. 90% of your communication gone. That 90% is body language. You're behind a screen. People don't know how your facial reaction is. How are you acting?
Couldn't understand the simplest form of satire. I was pointing out how ridiculous it is to ban an entire group of people based on their religion or race or gender or anything like that. That's like the definition of satire. But apparently, if you're satirical at all on the internet, a bunch of angry white dudes are gonna take you literally and be super offended by it. Honestly, this one was more funny than anything. Like, you have to be some sort of crybaby to whine about me satirically pointing out that banning whole groups of people is discriminatory. The next myth is less of a specific event and more of just a thing that I'm randomly accused of a lot of the time. Basically, I believe that those who harass and abuse marginalized people, or those who advocate for ideologies that are inherently violent and hateful towards marginalized people, those people should be denied a platform to express their views.
Okay, first of all, you just described Islam. That's one thing. And second of all, who actually owes you a platform? You're not entitled to anything. Hell, you're lucky you even got a platform.
And apparently, because of that, everyone accuses me of hating free speech and wanting to censor and silence everybody who disagrees with me. But that's just not true. We can disagree about certain things, that's fine.
How did you end up speaking to Milo in the first place?
I follow a bunch of SJW channels, like Justin, Riley Dennis, Marina Shut Up, Cat Black, stuff like that. I just sent out a tweet and I tagged Marina Shut Up and Riley Dennis. I was like, hey guys, would you want to come on a stream to just talk about your views on the whole Trump election? Not a debate, just a conversation. So I thought that was pretty harmless. Riley Dennis ended up blocking me. Yeah.
But advocating for the genocide of entire groups of people is not okay. And you should not be allowed to spew that hatred on any platform you want without consequences.
You are really scraping the bottom of the barrel now, aren't you? Please tell me, who the living fuck is actually wanting genocide? I do not know any political figures or any YouTubers. But wait, are you saying roaming millennial wants genocide? Against who though?
Social media networks, universities, book publishers, and other organizations should be allowed to deny you a platform. They don't owe you space to spread your garbage beliefs. I don't think that should be a controversial viewpoint. Free speech means the government won't stop you from saying something. It doesn't mean that everybody has to allow you to say it on their platforms, especially if that platform is paid, like in the case of university speaking gigs or book publishing deals.
So, using your own logic here, if there's someone you disagree with, they don't deserve a platform. Which I will replay a video again to show that. Not only that, I actually do agree. No one owes you a platform, but that's still debatable. It depends upon, did you actually do a hate crime, a hate speech? Did you actually do any of those?
I spent the entire day watching videos so that I could compile a list of channels that harass me so that I can make an argument to YouTube that we have to do something about this. Okay, so to simplify what this is saying, Riley spent the day flagging videos that were critical of him. So does Riley stand for free speech? Well, according to this, no. Especially since right after this text was apparently posted to Facebook, Hunter Avalone, Leafy is Here, and Very Nearly Viral all mysteriously had their videos ripping Riley's arguments removed from YouTube. As far as Hunter Avalone, he even had 2 Twitter accounts suspended and an Instagram image removed. Now you can easily say Riley had nothing to do with this, but the timing of this post and the timing of the removed content, well, it starts to paint a picture. I'll let you decide for yourself.
The next myth is related. Basically, I think some forms of violence are much worse than others. I made a whole video about this, but I'll try to sum it up real quick. I think it's called the paradox of tolerance. Basically, that to maintain a tolerant society, you have to be intolerant to intolerance. Like violence against someone because of their race or sexual orientation or something similar, that's much worse than violence against someone who advocates genocide against innocent people. You can watch the whole video if you want, but that's the gist of it. So the myth that came out of that is that people claim that I advocate for violence against anyone who disagrees with me, which is obviously untrue. I'm not a fan of violence. In regards to anti-fascists, they're harder to pin down because they're not an organization with leaders like Black Lives Matter. But I will say this, violence against fascists is not the same as violence used by fascists.
Before and after this clip, he was basically saying they were calling for genocide, there was hate speech on Unite the Right, and afterwards Heather was hit by a car being killed. However, if you look at the full story, Antifa's always the one starting it. However, they're both at fault in this situation. Antifa's always beating the shit out of conservatives just for having a different viewpoint. Riley is so blinded by her own faith to liberalism in Antifa, it's actually unbelievable. And the last time Nazis or the KKK actually did something extremely vile was years ago. They can't do shit now. So tell me how they could commit genocide. And after that clip as well, I forgot to mention, she says that words are violent. He says, I can't speak. He says that words are violent. No, they're not. They do not hold any power unless you give them power. And according to the dictionary he showed in his video, misgendering a transgender is violence. It is not.
And the World Health Organization agrees with me. In their 2002 World Report on Violence and Health, the WHO defined violence as the intentional use of physical force or power, threatened or actual, against oneself, another person, or against a group or community that either results in or has a high likelihood of resulting in injury, death, psychological harm, maldevelopment, or deprivation.
So tell me, how does it feel to be thrown off the high horse that now that lots of people have exposed you that you actually used a dictionary wrong, huh?
But sometimes violence can be justified. Most people recognize that. That's why self-defense is usually seen as okay. So I don't think you should be violent towards everyone who disagrees with you. But I really don't feel that bad for Nazis who go around advocating genocide and then get punched in the face.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they can't do shit nowadays because of the law, which is a good thing. If they do a hate crime, the judge is just gonna throw the book at them. So in other words, words can't hurt. So punching them for words makes you a fascist, which is ironic. And to add on to that, they're bringing all those weapons and shields because they know Antifa is gonna be there anyways. But also, like I said earlier, using a car to crash into people, no, not a good idea. That was terrible. Should have never been justified.
The next myth comes from a video I did called Misgendering Trans People is an Act of Violence. I made the case that the word violence can be used to describe non-physical violence as well. I cited the World Health Organization's definition of violence and generally argued that non-physical violence can be used to harm people, either by depriving them of resources they need to survive, or by making them feel so bad that they become suicidal, or something else like that. I think there's a strong case there that you can do a lot of damage without ever touching someone, and that should be considered violent.
Sure, not according to that definition that you showed us in one of your previous videos. And plus, wait, I think there's a word for depriving someone for basic needs or making them feel suicidal. Oh right, mental bullying, cyberbullying, and neglect. That's not violence.
However, what I hear all the time now is, Riley Dennis believes words are violence. And people constantly are like, oh yeah, you think an insult is the same as getting punched in the face? And it's hilarious how much they can completely miss the mark with what I was talking about. Just because words can be a form of violence doesn't mean they're equivalent to all other forms of violence. Some physical forms of violence are less serious than others. Slapping someone is less violent than stabbing someone. Likewise, words can be violence while still being less violent than a lot of physical forms of violence. I think it's ignorant to believe that violence is only ever carried out through physical actions. If you blackmail someone into killing someone else, you committed violence without ever getting your hands dirty. If you put policies in place to starve out a specific community and people die because of it, you have committed violence without ever touching someone. If you bully someone until they commit suicide, you committed violence against them. Violence can have non-physical forms. That's not an outlandish claim in the slightest. People just got upset because they really hate trans people and want to be able to misgender them without feeling bad about it.
Uh-huh. Sure, that's why California lowered the sentencing for anyone who knowingly spread HIV to their partners from 8 years to 6 years, but somehow I could get fined $1,000 and be put in jail for a year for misgendering an old guy. He may have Alzheimer's, but if he wants to identify as the fucking trash man, you let him identify as the fucking trash man.
I'm the trash man. I started eating garbage.
I am done here. I am not doing any more. There's one more miss, but nope, I'm not doing that shit. I already disproved everything else, and this one I have known nothing about, so that's another reason why. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Links are down below. All my sources down below. Batting's video down below. All original videos I criticize down below. Anyways, guys, this is Matt's Commentator, and peace out.